The Rise Today Inspirational Podcast is brought to you by two relentless health warriors, Dr. Erica Harris, an empowered mindset health expert who is the passionate founder of RiseToday.com, and Meghan Hubner, an entrepreneurial marketing strategist and founder of Hubner Marketing. These two inspirational forces have truly thrived through adversity and are here to empower you to do the same. Together, they serve to open up the conversation about hardship and to move you to greatness through your adversities. Learn more at risetoday.com/podcast. Now, let's get started. Let's rise today, right here, right now.
It's a good day.
Welcome, everyone. We are so happy you are here with us today. Dr. Erica Harris here with you today from RiseToday.com. I am so excited to get started with our very first show today, and I'm truly just so grateful for the opportunity to get to be here alive and well and here with you today. So let's get ready to dive in deep to explore the power that lies in our stories and in finding our way back to our attitude of gratitude. Today is just such a great day to make it a great day, no matter what we're facing, isn't it, Meghan?
It sure is, Erica. Hi, everyone. It's Meghan Hubner. You can learn more about us at getupandthrivealive.com. I also can't wait to share this burst of inspiration that's about to unfold in today's show. So let's jump right in, find what we can do to strive ahead, find the calm in the chaos, and look for the silver linings of hardships. And I'm super excited that I get to be the first guest on the Get Up and Thrive Alive podcast.
And we wanted to introduce you all to the magic behind the scenes and give credit where credit is due to our incredible podcast productions hero who has brought this all together for us. We're very happy to introduce you to Dwight Hurst, our magician behind it all.
Well, thank you. I'll try to live up to that title. I'm going to use the title magician behind it all now. I got to get some cards or something. So I'm so excited to have connected with both of you. I had run into you, Erica, I think just watching a video you did through LinkedIn or something, and then you introduced Meghan, and I'm just happy to be here and be part of the message you guys have. Really excited to help get it out there.
Very honored to have you on board. Thank you for being here with us, Dwight. Okay, I just can't wait for the world to learn all about your incredible story, Meghan. But before we do, let's just first share with our listeners, with our thrivers, I should say, the reason that we each feel so compelled to launch this podcast of inspiration and empowerment.
You know, I think it all starts when we find ourselves in a situation where we are completely out of control. Most often, we are least expecting something to come and turn our world upside down. And I know this well from personal experience, and I know that you do as well. You know, once as a competitive athlete, all of a sudden needing urgent open heart surgery in order to, make sure that I had continued health, overnight, your world is entirely turned upside down. Your plans are completely canceled. And I know that the two of us have been able to rise to that adversity, find a gift in the journey, and now we want to pay that forward so that others can help find hope, strength, and the power in their own stories.
So great, Meghan. And together we're so united in our mission. And I am here to serve as a friend for all of those navigating hardship. And I know well, despite being enveloped by literally a worldwide force of support, you can still feel so alone on your journey unless you're really connecting with those who understand the journey. And so we are here to do just that and to serve as a friend and to help others find the strength to stay the course and to truly use their adversity to best serve them, to rise and shine and rebound higher than they ever imagined possible. So Meghan, let's dive deep. Tell us a bit more about your story and how you're here with us today.
My story is definitely one of divine intervention. I can honestly say that so many small symbols added up to get me to the point of where I actually was identified as needing urgent open heart surgery. And, you know, without those little symbols, and if I had actually just kind of squashed them or put them under the mat and things, then I probably wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have that luxury. So there's a combination of things that happened actually. I was actually approached by a woman that I worked with at the time, and she said, hey, there's a great job opportunity at another company because I know that you are looking for further growth. And so I think you might be a great fit. And she actually kind of handed me over to this company, even though I wasn't actually actively pursuing a new job at that moment in time. Now, the reason that is so pivotal to my story is because this new company actually was offering a third-party health assessment that actually allowed you to go through kind of like a spa-like experience and actually do the complete gold standard of care as far as third-party health assessments go. And so when I entered this new job, I quickly found out about this program. And I was really, really, as a health nut myself, committed to wanting to do this. But unfortunately, the times that they were offering for the sales training that we were going to were actually only Monday to Friday. And so I actually went out of my way to email them and say, you know what, this is a really beautiful service you're offering. We want to take advantage of it, but it actually doesn't work for a lot of the sales reps. Would it be possible if I got enough people interested for you to actually open on a Sunday? And they said, oh, great question. You know, we'd love to get more of your employees through. So let me look into it. So they actually went out of their way to open their, their training facility on a Sunday so that we could actually go through. And, you know, that part of the story just kind of gives me chills, because if I had just kind of brushed it off and said, yeah, you know what, I guess I'll catch it next time, I might not be here today. If I would have said, okay, well, I guess it's not for me, I might not be here today. So, you know, I went through that entire process. I had to show up early on the Sunday morning, coming in from British Columbia all the way to Ontario to get to this appointment. So I went through the entire assessment. You know, I was expecting to come out of there feeling like I was walking on water, because I'm sure they were going to say you were in such good shape. So, you know, through all the testing and things they put you through, one of the most basics and one of the most rudimentary tests they actually do is you get a GP checkup with a stethoscope, right? So she just gives you a full physical. So she actually picked up that I had a heart murmur on a simple stethoscope. Now, if you talk to any MD, they'll tell you that 100 people could listen to a stethoscope on 100 different patients and report 100 different findings. It's such a fine science, is what I've been told, that in order to actually pick this up, because I think it's pretty routine when you go to the doctor, they listen to your heart on the stethoscope. I've been to the doctor. I wasn't lost to follow-up for years and years. And so the fact that she picked up this murmur, which I'd never been told about before, was really profound. So I got home, you know, and I was really anxious at first, and I thought, you know what? A lot of people have heart murmurs. I'm going to be okay. It's fine. It's fine. So I booked the echocardiogram. A few months later, it wasn't until I got all my documents from this health assessment saying, hey, you still need that echocardiogram. And I thought, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to go get it. So I dragged myself downtown. It was 7 a.m. on a Friday morning. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is not a good use of taxpayers' money. And I walked in there and the woman said, you know, how come you're here? And I said, well, apparently I have a heart murmur. She said, 99% of the time, that's no big deal. I said, okay, got on the table. My worries are calmed. I'm good. So that afternoon I went home, had a little lay down because I was still feeling really tired from the week of traveling. And I woke up at 3:30 on that Friday afternoon after having my little lie down. I looked at my phone and there was multiple missed calls from a number that I didn't know. And there was a very long text message from my GP saying, you need urgent open heart surgery. Please do not leave the city limits. Please do not lift anything heavy. If you have any chest pain, go to your nearest ER. Wow. And I thought, what? And I'm just getting chills talking about it now, because it was a moment that I will never forget, of course. You know, it's funny because I actually had in the back of my mind that my uncle had died from a brain aneurysm when I was 4. But in actual fact, the first person that I phoned was my mom. And there was silence on the other end of the line, because she said, you realize that David died of a heart aneurysm. So right then in that moment, my mom knew that she had the gene as well. She knew that she was also a carrier, because I would have received it from her. And, you know, my uncle had passed away 31 years ahead. And so for 31 years, this condition within my family went undiagnosed or undetected. So it was really a very humbling experience, because I am the rock in my family. My sister suffers from a chronic condition, and her opinion was that, well, this isn't fair. I'm supposed to be the barrier of, the carrier of that. And I thought, no, this is my turn. Like, this is my turn to stand up tall for the family and to be strong here. And so I knew that I was coming out of that open heart surgery because I knew that there was no other option. And so I was heavily medicated for the next 16 days. I lay on the couch, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna prep my family. I'm gonna get food in the freezer. I'm gonna make muffins and do all these things. No, I didn't get off the couch for the next 16 days. They had me on so much medication. So my aortic root was actually dilated to 62 millimeters, and they typically do surgery at 55 millimeters. So I'm not sure if it's my years of competitive paddling, my years as a fast-paced basketball player, all of those things that actually strengthened it to allow it to be that big, or if it was, the indicator of how much expanded it was in the first place.
But so scary. Like, had you been out actually exerting yourself, paddling on any of the number of occasions that you would
Oh
do
my gosh.
so, anything could have happened and gone astray. You're so, so, so lucky that this company just exuded these medical tests, and fate took its course. And we're so lucky to have you here today. But it's so important for us all, because those tests back then seemed a bit, as you were describing it, almost a bit tedious, because you're in your
Absolutely.
schedule and you're in your mojo. You have so many things on your platter already, and now you have this, and you could have easily brushed it off, like you were saying. But so important to really tune in and hone in on our health and really not take those moments for granted. So we're so happy to have you here with us today, Meghan.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us, where did you find the strength to hold on in those days of fear until you had the surgery, and in your recovery? Where did you find the strength from within?
I definitely gave myself permission to feel the pain of it all, to be, like I said, being the strength from my family, and then all of a sudden me showing my weakness. That was really difficult. And so, I had to go from within. I had to allow myself to feel all those emotions. I had to allow myself to visualize the fact that it was going to be okay. I had to be strong for myself and for the families around me. And I knew that the stronger I felt inside, the better health outcome I was going to have. And so I allowed myself to be vulnerable. I allowed myself to cry and get really mad and feel numb to the fact that I was undergoing a huge surgery. And I, up until that point, have been super, super healthy. And so I allowed myself to feel. And then I also took a look from the outside too. Like I said, I'd watched my sister with a chronic condition, and I knew that I can overcome this. I've watched you as a good friend, go through your pain and things like that. And I think there's a lot of inspiration to seek from your community. And when you lean into that, you can really see, if that person can do it, I can do it too. And I feel that there's so much power in this sense of community. It might be something that we've lost in our early 20s, because you kind of feel like you are invincible and you are taking on the world as you go through the motions and stuff. But chances are we were raised with a community, whether it was in the church or whether it was at school or whether it was in a neighborhood. And so going back to that community also gave me a lot of strength.
Yeah, asking for help and allowing that power of vulnerability just to take over. But it's hard to do, especially in your situation, as you describe yourself. You're always the caregiver for other people. And so to allow yourself to be cared for, it's not an easy transition. And so that's
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also an opportunity for you to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give back in this way when I'm in a better position. The amount of care and support that I had pouring in. I mean, my goodness, my colleagues that I had known for 6 months, they pooled together their resources. They hired me a housekeeper for 4 months. They had meals delivered. They took turns bringing meals. They had a private chef brought into my house. I'd only been at that company for 6 months. So
Amazing.
Just allowing yourself to see the strength in that is humbling and so powerful.
Yes. So true, Meghan. So true. And I came across this expression or this saying years ago. when we ask for help, it's not a sign that we are giving up, but rather that we're trying to give it our all to stay the course. And it's so important to do just that on these very journeys. And so tell us, how was the recovery after you have this open heart surgery? You're in the hospital. Tell us about this.
I will never forget, obviously, the moment walking into that hospital, because you walk in as a completely able-bodied person. You walk in feeling like, here I am, and I'm not going to walk out feeling the same way. And so you put your brave face on, and you put one foot in front of the other, because there just isn't an option at that point in time. And in actual fact, the fact that we get to have that surgery is an honor in itself, because my uncle didn't get to have that surgery. And so, I feel like as soon as you just start putting that energy forward and that energy in motion, it's scary. And I was lying on the table, and my husband was there, and my parents were there, and I was wearing my gown, and the surgeon came up. He was hilarious in itself, and he had his Sharpie out, and he showed me where we're gonna start things, and they ask you if you have any concerns at this point in time. And I just was, I remember answering in a very coherent voice, but tears are streaming down your face, because you have no clue. And you're still completely coherent and awake as they wheel you into the room. And it is such a unnerving thing, because we're so used to being in control of everything. And at this point, we just have to give up control to the people that are the professionals, like to the people that are going to take you from A to Z, the people that are going to carry you through that position. And once you start allowing yourself to let that control go, and just have confidence in the surgeon, the confidence of the anesthesia team, the confidence of everything. Being in the medical industry, a lot of my products were actually being used on me that day. And so the products that I had sold into ORs and sold to the hospitals and things, they were actually, I was watching them opening the package to use them on me. And that was a very surreal feeling. But I knew that I was in really, really good hands.
Just came back so full circle. This was your profession, and now it's coming back to serve you. How beautiful. Yeah. And so tell us the recovery, and you're putting one foot in front of the other, trying to get stronger. Tell us about these moments.
So I think the most important thing in the recovery is to be gentle on yourself. Oh my goodness. They told you to keep your hands by your sides for 3.5 months. And in any given situation, if my husband was asking for me to pass him a cup of water after 3 months, you'd be like, oh, you can't get the cup of water yourself. But oh my gosh, it was humbling, because he continually passed me that cup of water, or sat me up, or rolled me over in bed. And we decided that we were going to work really hard as a team to get me back to where I was before. And so we took every recommendation that they gave us. We want to walk this far, do this many deep breaths, use your heart pillow, all these things. We took that so to heart. We just really committed as a family to the process and the healing, the recovery, because we wanted so badly for me to get back to a point where I could be as active or live as much of a normal life as I possibly could. So I was really gentle on myself for 6 months. I recognize actually that the bigger issue is not necessarily your heart or your sternal incision. It's actually the soft tissue injuries that are done along the way. The damage to all of the little nerves within your chest, down the spine, your left shoulder as they open you up on that side, the scarring that the dressings and things leave you. And I think that it's an opportunity for awareness for everyone else to say, you know what, it's not just about the actual procedure itself. It's actually a whole body thing. And when you recognize that it's a whole body thing, and you can find acceptance in the whole body thing, then it allows you kind of to go slowly. So I took a really long course of 6 months to get back to work. And even after 6 months, I still had trouble sitting in a desk chair for, extended amount of time. I did physio, I did cardiac rehab, I did rehab on my own. And I just moved my body in response to as much as I could. Beautiful. And just in that desire and that hope and that vision of getting back to where I really wanted to go. Where you want to be in 6 months or in a year or in 18 months. That's really what kind of motivated me when it hurt, to keep walking or to keep going or that type of thing.
It sounds like you've healed from within on your journey. And so tell me about the gifts that you've been bestowed from before and after your journey.
Well, the gift of my daughter is probably the biggest gift that has come out of this. And, you know, when I entered the point of going in for open heart surgery, I was actually scheduled at the fertility clinic that month. And my fertility appointment was actually supposed to be the week after my open heart surgery. And the reason we were headed there is because we'd already tried to conceive for 2 years and had no success. And the very first meeting that I had with the surgeon, he looked me straight in the face and he said, "You won't have any children." And I could see a colleague of mine that was with me at the appointment with my husband and I, she was scribing for me. And so she was a nurse as well. So she understands full medical lingo. And I could see out of the corner of my eye as she was writing notes for me, she just froze. And I froze in response. And I was like, "I'll never have children? This is my dream. We have already been trying for 2 years. I'm supposed to be at a fertility clinic next week." And that was that moment in time was probably harder than my diagnosis itself.
I can imagine.
A lot of you that are parents that have either actively been trying or that are already parents or that are not there yet will understand, you know, like that just being taken away from you like that. And so I left there and I remember just walking straight down the hallway with my husband and my friend behind me, and they just did not say a word. They knew that had nothing to do with the diagnosis of the surgery. It had everything to do with the fact that he said, "You'll never." And so I continued, you know, in my pursuit to find a cardiologist that specialized in this area, open, you know, cardiac patients that were higher risk and that type of thing. And luckily enough, the medical institute that I was at actually has a obstetrics cardiac department. And a year after surgery, I was connected with a doctor who said, "Yes, I will support you. Now you are a patient population of 1. I don't have any numbers for you. I know that you want numbers. You're in medical. I know that you want numbers to say, hey, these are going to be, you know, your outcomes. I don't have that for you, but if you want to do it, I will support you." And that was now 3 years after we had started trying. And I tell you, we got pregnant on the first try.
Wow, Meghan. So you have, so take it back a second.
I have a 4-year-old.
So beautiful. So you take it back. So before your heart surgery, you're trying to conceive, and this is so important to you. And this was a big hardship for you, that it's been taking years to try to conceive and it's not a successful process. And then we're presented with this random medical testing through this company, and it's kind of seen as a hardship, a little bit tedious. We go through it. Oh my heavens, I need surgery. And now on the aftermath of the recovery, wow, so easy to conceive now that you're healed from within. And now you have this beautiful 4-year-old, amazingly spirited, gorgeous little girl. What a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a gift.
It absolutely is. And you know, the other thing that is an absolute gift is that because the condition that I have is actually a genetic condition, you know, I was able to actually get blood work done, and there's only 5 to 10% of the population that would actually be able to isolate the mutated gene with this condition. And I was so fortunate to be one of that percentage. And so we actually know conclusively that my daughter has the same condition. And so, you know, it is just, I feel so fortunate to know that I don't have to worry or stress or wonder or question for the next 20 to 30 years on whether she is going to be safe and healthy and fine, because I know that we need to track it. I know that we can keep eyes on it. I know what the process is. And I also know that science changes so fast that in 20 to 30 years, when she might need a procedure, they might be doing, you know, these types of procedures completely different. Yeah. So I feel so fortunate that we know conclusively that she's got that genetic.
You're so right. And education, knowledge is such power for us. And so that's such a gift that you know that already. So tell us, now you're in Whistler. How did you find yourself in Whistler? And how did you use the strength from your adversity to take and transform your life to get you to where you are now? It's so inspiring. So tell us about it, please.
You know, it's funny because I love real estate. I loved real estate for a long time. And one of the things that I just do for fun is to take a look at properties and keep my eye on the market and run numbers and do spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. And it was a year after surgery that I found the property that I was like, I think we can do this. And my husband was like, you're the one with the numbers. If you think we can do it, let's do it. And so we jumped and we did it. Actually, we got, it was actually a big month because we bought our first place in Whistler, and we got pregnant in the same month. So like,
wow.
I had just at that moment found this, just this release. You know, I'm not going to live in the shadow of what I want to do anymore. I'm going to actually just go for it and have faith that it's going to work out and have confidence in my ability to make it work and just jump. And so when I jumped at the condo at Whistler, we did, you know, this shift back and forth for a number of years. As the family grew, we actually got a larger place here so that we knew in time that we really wanted to kind of downsize the busyness of our life and actually get in more skiing and get in more biking and, you know, get in more running, because we don't know what tomorrow brings. And, you know, every time I do have a little heart palpitation or a tightness in my left side, I think, oh, am I good? Am I safe? Am I okay? And so once you start making those small leaps and releasing that fear, like releasing the fear of the high risk pregnancy, releasing the fear of purchasing a property in Whistler, like as soon as you start doing that once, it gets easier. And once you do it once, it gets a little bit easier. And then you do it twice and you feel a bit more confident. And then you do it for the third time. And so, you know, my older daughter, my stepdaughter is 19 now. And she said, yeah, I want to live on my own. And we said, okay, well, then we're going to sell the family house and we are going to go for it. We're going to move to Whistler. So it actually involved both of us giving up our corporate careers and redesigning our careers. You know, we've downsized our house. We moved into 1,100 square feet and we simplified a lot of things. And that is kind of where we are today. Without the ability to release that fear, I would have without a doubt held back. You know, I achieved my dream job. I was a regional sales manager for a large medical company. That was my dream. But when my daughter turned 2, I realized that it actually wasn't my dream anymore. And that I'd outgrown that dream and I needed to create a new one. And I think so often we say, oh no, this was my dream, and we stay there. But just like yourself, you know, you recreate yourself, or you realize what's not serving you any longer. And then you just make a jump into what feels better.
So true. And from just hearing your adventures and knowing your daughter's daily schedule, it does sound like such a dream, doesn't it? She goes to preschool for a few days a week, and on the days she's not in preschool, she's either mountain biking or skiing. How great could that be?
I know, she loves it. It's so fun because it's the vision I was holding in my head for the last number of years. It's the vision that gave me the ability to do the hard things, to let go, to downsize, to get rid of stuff, to, you know, release what doesn't serve us, and all of those things right now, which, you know, here we are in the middle of May in a global situation that we would have never otherwise thought ourselves to be in. And I think that it is the opportunity for a lot of people to do that.
So true. Now, how are you serving the world with all of these talents and skills and attributes that you've gained from adversity? How are you now serving this great world?
So I work in a variety of capacities now. I work for myself as an entrepreneur educator. I help people get a business started online. You know, it's funny when you take a look at your history. I actually have a degree in entrepreneurship. And it wasn't until I said, yeah, I think I'm ready to leave the corporate life behind, that I realized that I actually started in entrepreneurship. And it actually felt like I was going back to my roots. So I help people start a business online. I help teach them how to generate multiple revenue streams. I work with a coaching program that teaches people how to release fear and get out of life what they're truly seeking. And I do a lot of social media training, personal branding, and that type of thing. I am also an aspiring foster parent.
Beautiful. Tell us, what is the number one tool that you would share with our listeners, with our thrivers who are scared with the adversity they are facing, with their current diagnosis, with all that's on their plate, with that feeling of being so overwhelmed? What is the number one tool that you would share with them that can power them through to help them stay the course?
Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Like I said earlier, just let it happen. Let yourself be vulnerable. Let yourself be helped. Let yourself be lifted up by others around you, whether it's your community, your family, your friends, so that in that strength, you can actually find the strength within that you didn't know that you had. So let yourself be vulnerable. Let yourself ask for help. And then visualizing, I think, is huge. I don't think it matters where you are in your stage of diagnosis or treatment or something, but you have to have a solid vision in your mind of what you think is on the other side of the treatment or the surgery or the procedure or this point in time that you're going through that's really rough. Keep seeing the other side, because I feel that is what is going to get you to change your pajamas every single day, or, get you to wash your face, or get help with a sponge bath. All of these things that we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable to get to. Allow yourself to dream what it's going to be like when you don't need a sponge bath any longer.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So tell us, Meghan, on a lighter, fun note, tell us maybe one guilty pleasure that you may never want to admit elsewhere, but you will tell us today.
Oh gosh, a guilty pleasure.
Uh-huh.
I have definitely been eating a lot of chocolate recently. I don't know what's gotten into me.
That's a good one.
Oh, I'm just loving it. I'm taking a lot of joy in it. I don't know why.
Okay, what's your favorite app on your phone?
My favorite app is actually probably Instagram right now. I have had so much fun engaging with people, learning people, meeting people, different to some of the other platforms out there. That really allows you to connect with like-minded people. And I have had such engaging conversations, and I just get so much inspiration and excitement from watching other people grow and go to where they want to go as well.
Excellent. And in your downtime, what's your favorite show?
I am probably the worst show watcher ever. I'm horrible. People are like, well, haven't you seen this? I'm like, no, I haven't seen it. I probably watch maybe a show a month maybe. But if I was to rewind a couple of years, maybe before I started my own business, Modern Family makes me laugh every single time.
And you touched on humor before you touched on humor before when your doctor made some jokes when you were going in for surgery, and humor is so, so, so important on our journey. And I wanted to elaborate on it back then, but it can really shift our mindset, right? If we're watching even a funny movie, or keeping it light in a heavy scenario, keeping it light, and that humor can add such a gift for our day. So really important.
It's funny that you touched on that, actually, because he, kind of did X marks the spot, and he puts a little smiley face on me. He leaves, and then he comes back out. And so his humor was incredibly dry. And my husband will never forget. He basically just walked out of surgery, looked at my husband, I had a whole panel of friends, a family there, looked at my husband and said, "You guys can go and have babies now." And he walked away. And my husband was like,
"Wow,
is everything okay? And that was it. Like, that was his sense of bringing humor into the thing. And, he just did his job. He just did his job that day.
Yeah.
And,
And on the flip side of that, on the flip side of that lightheartedness and that humor, when you were sharing your story, when the doctor first told you would not be able to bear children, those words, they can sting to the core. And so changing the narrative of your own story, as you did, is so important, and staying true to your fight of fights and what's important to you, and respecting words that are told to you, but learning ways to fight around that. So I think that's really admirable, Meghan. And
I think that's also really important for you to be your own health advocate in that situation, is that, we look to our medical team, we look to our doctors, we look to all of these people who are experts in their field when we don't have any of that expert knowledge that they do. And so often, this one particular doctor that had uttered those words, I saw him again as follow-up, and I still didn't resonate with him. And so I think it's also also important to recognize what you need. I had another cardiologist, and I decided to stay the course with him. And I think it's okay to kind of listen to that.
Yep. So true, Meghan. Great advice. So happy to have you here and to share the power in your story, Meghan. It's really a moving journey that will inspire so many to stay the course and to move through their fear with these tools that you've shared. And I can't thank you enough for being here.
So Meghan, tell our Thrivers how they can get in touch with you if they are wanting to continue to be inspired by your light and your inspiration. How do we find you?
Absolutely. Well, in the world of social media, it is really easy to connect these days. So I spend a lot of time on Facebook as well as Instagram. You can find me at Meghan Hubner, which is my Instagram handle. My Facebook is facebook.com/Meghan Hubner. And you spell my name, MEGHANHUBNER. I am also on the risetoday.com, listed as a new coach to the team.
As a wrap up, just again, we're so grateful to have you here today. We hope you've enjoyed this burst of inspiration that you can take with you today and on your journey as well as we go. And don't forget, today is a great day to make it a great day, no matter what we are facing. All the best. Until next time.
Thanks, everyone.
It's gonna be a good day.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Take this inspiration forward. Learn more at risetoday.com/podcast. And please do help us in our mission to spread hope, inspiration, and positivity by encouraging those in your circle to join us and to tune in for our next show of inspiration coming soon. Please contact us if you have a powerful story to share with us to inspire the world. Until next time, get out there and rise today.